Hello friends, it's been a while since I talked to you or made a video other than a short video, but I decided that now it's time. I have several video ideas actually that I'm planning to make for you or related to my Appalachian Trail thru-hike. And if you're new here, hi, my name is Anu, my trail name is Firefox, and last year, 2024, I thru-hiked the Appalachian Trail, and I did a video of all of my hiking days and rest days. So if you're interested, they are all in my playlist of the Appalachian Trail. I thought that I would talk to you about what it was actually like after climbing Mt Katahdin and going back home. I live in Finland, so I also of course had to fly home. Yeah, so I'm just gonna kind of go through what it was like to come back and what maybe struggles or challenges I faced and things that I did and tried to do to kind of get back into the normal life. After summiting Mt Katahdin, I got a ride to Bangor. NASA and I rented a car and we did a little road trip in Maine. We drove to the coast of Maine and then we eventually drove to the New York City and we explored there for a couple of days, and then it was time for me to fly home and for NASA to fly to his home. So we said goodbye at the airport, which was very sad because we'd been hiking together for so long. So then I flew home and I actually was only home for 3 days until I already had to go back to work. Yeah, so I went to work straight away almost, which I think it felt kind of harsh to go straight back to reality. But also I felt that it was good. It kind of forced me to get back into the rhythm of things, get back to just the life that I was gonna start living again. So even though it was pretty harsh to go back to work so fast, because part of my brain was definitely still in the forests of Maine. But it was also good. I feel like it was good to just get a grasp on reality that soon. And there was the element of a culture shock really as soon as I flew back home to Finland. Actually, as soon as I landed at the airport, I felt like it was weird that people were speaking Finnish around me. I just wasn't used to that. And even though I came back to the country that I live in and that I've grown up in and that I'm familiar with, still weirdly things felt kind of foreign and a bit strange to me. And it took me a while to just start to land back into my Finnish version of me who lives in Finland and who's not a hiker, who's a part of society here. So yeah, it was interesting to get a culture shock coming back to my home country. But that didn't last for too long really, the initial culture shock. But then the feeling of it kind of changed. And the first thing that I really noticed that was bothering me in a way that it didn't before I left for the trail was just the crowds and all the noise. Because I guess I got so used to being in the forest where it was relatively nice and quiet and I was not around a lot of people at once, except when I was in towns, but even then many of the towns were kind of small and I just kind of forgot what it was like to be around lots of people and lots of noise. So that was one thing that kind of really felt almost foreign, and also took a while getting used to that, really, especially the noise, because it's just so quiet in the woods. And then when you're in a town, I mean in a bigger city with people like bumping into you almost, and all the noise of the traffic and just machines, I guess, and just the noise of society, it felt really kind of loud and took a while getting used to. Oh, look at this. This used to be a house a long time ago, but it got hit by a lightning and it burned like a couple decades ago, I think, but you can still see the ruins here. So this was when I first came back home. It was still more of a fall. Now it's winter. And I didn't actually have a place to live for the first couple months. I was staying with my mom and stepdad and a couple of my friends for the first 2 months until I got my own apartment to live in. And then another thing that in the beginning was a little bit difficult was actually like sleeping, because also I got used to sleeping in the forest and I got used to the sounds of the forest, and it was strange to sleep inside a house that makes like different sounds almost. So it was just weird, just getting used to the different sounds of the environment that you're sleeping in. And also in the beginning especially, I felt very restless for quite a long time actually. I mean, now I've been home for let's see, about 4 months, and now I still sometimes get that, but a lot less than I did in the beginning. But I feel like it took a long time, like weeks and weeks, that I felt very restless. I guess because I was so used to just going for a walk every day, for a long walk every day, and then now I didn't even have a chance to do that because I had to go to work for 8 hours a day, and you know, I had obligations. So my body took a while to get used to being more, is stagnant the word? Well, anyway, being not in the move all the time. And yeah, so the restlessness, and it was not just restlessness of my body and my limbs, but also my mind. Yeah, it's kind of difficult to explain, but I just felt an overall restlessness for many weeks after I came back home. I'm out for a little walk. It's a beautiful day out here today. Sun is out and blue skies. No clouds on the skies though, but pretty and quite warm too. I'm wearing my puffy, but that's almost too much. But it feels really nice and good to go for a walk. My legs have been almost needing to go for walks, like longer walks. But I've tried to also let them rest because my knees and my feet have been still quite sore after the hike. So I'm trying to find a balance that lets them rest, but also gives them enough exercise to keep them happy. It's not always easy to find a balance. And another thing that I struggled with was, well, both my feet and my knees were really sore on the trail for a long time. It's just such a hard thing to do on your body, to walk that many miles for that long of a time with that much weight on your back and going up and down the mountains and the uneven surface and everything. So I definitely struggled with that as well. It took a long time as well, kind of like with the restlessness. It took weeks and weeks for my knees and my feet to finally not be so sore. My feet, I feel like they recovered a bit faster, and I tried to, in the beginning it was kind of hard to have a balance of because I wanted to move my body, take it for a walk because that's what it craved, but then I also wanted to give my body a chance to really rest and recover. So occasionally it was a bit tricky to find the balance of getting exercise but not too much. But yeah, I feel like my feet recovered faster, and then my knees took a longer time. Even now my knees don't work like 100% the same way as they did before the hike, but they have been slowly getting better, and they're a lot better than they were straight after the hike. But still, it takes a while for your body to recover. Look, it's snowing! This is the first snow. I think it's the first snow, at least where I'm staying right now. And I went out for a little walk with my mom, and we are enjoying the snowy forest. It looks pretty similar to some of the forests that I saw in the northern states, but it definitely has a Finnish twist to it. It's nice to be back in the home forest. And like I mentioned, I went pretty much straight back to work, and even though the first week or so was kind of hard because it was a struggle to get my brain back to the like work me and work environment, and I had forgotten some things from work, like some smaller things I actually just didn't remember, because I guess my brain got such a good holiday from my work. But I also feel, like I said, that it was a good thing that I did go back to work straight away. Well, maybe I could have had a bit longer, maybe a week at least, to kind of recover and get my brain back to Finland. Yeah, maybe a little bit longer would have been better. Maybe a week would have been more ideal. But still, and I kind of I've talked with some other people who also finished their hikes, and I kind of feel like well, obviously it's different for everybody, but I feel like for most people it would be beneficial to be able to go back to your normal routine quicker rather than taking more time, at least in the sense that it makes the process of getting back to normal life, I guess, faster, because it is a challenge to transition from, because you almost have a complete different role. You're a hiker, you're a hiker when you're out there. That's at least that's what I felt like. My role in a society kind of changed. When I'm at home, I'm a daughter and a sister, and a nurse, and just a member of society in that way. But out there I was just a hiker, and coming back home it took a while for my brain to transition back to being a member of society in the same way that I used to be before the hike. And I feel like when I went back to work pretty soon after, that definitely helped me, because it first of all reminded my brain what it's like to be that person, but also it kind of forced my brain to kind of get a grip on reality faster. I feel like if I had been able to just lounge around, had been able to just spend time without doing much or doing whatever I wanted for a longer time, it definitely would have taken longer for my brain and my whole being to transition. Hi, shaky video. I'm out for a little run. Now we have snow, so it's so nice and light outside. It's not too cold though, not just a couple degrees Celsius below freezing, so it's a really nice weather for a run. And one thing that I noticed pretty soon was, because I definitely felt different, and if you think of spending a 6 month time period in your kind of normal everyday life doing the same things that you always do, you don't generally change that much mentally or physically in 6 months. But then when you do something like a thru-hike, you change a lot more in the 6 months. I changed a lot physically as well. I lost weight and I got more stronger, and I could almost do another video of that. But basically I liked being in my body a lot more than I did before the hike. But also just you change mentally as well. And I feel like it was more of a struggle to go back to normal, to people that knew me before the hike, and back to the places that I used to hang around before the hike, because I felt like I had changed quite a lot, but then all the other, like the places and the people and everything else, had not changed that much. So yeah, it was kind of a strange feeling, almost like I couldn't go back to the same old, because I wasn't the same person anymore. And yeah, it was an interesting thing to notice, and it was not something that I didn't kind of thought about that before. Well, when I left for my hike, I never thought about anything pretty much after the hike. The whole focus was just on being able to finish the hike, and just, I just concentrated all my brain power and concentration and imagination and everything just on the actual hike, and I didn't really think about that much of the time after the hike. So that was something that I did not see coming, and it was interesting to notice. So yeah, kind of the feeling that you can't go back to how things were, because even if you go back to the same places and the same people, because you're not the same person anymore. But for me it was good. Because the changes that I noticed in myself were good things. Like I'm happy with the changes, so it was a good thing to me, but also just kind of a little bit unexpected. If I started talking about all the changes that I kind of noticed in me, it would be a really long video, and anyway, I'm sure they're different for everybody, so I don't necessarily will go into details about that. But I can just say that at first I didn't even realize that I had changed so much, but only after I went back home to familiar things and familiar people, and I was kind of able to mirror myself against them almost, and that's when I really started noticing more of the subtle changes, and they were really just small subtle things, I didn't feel like I didn't change it. I feel like I didn't change in one big meaningful way, but there was just lots of little things that I almost didn't realize straight away, and some of them kind of revealed themselves slowly over time. And especially thing that helped me was just thinking back to the hike, and like I spent quite a lot of time just contemplating, really, thinking back to the hike, and I just let my brain kind of think and that kind of helped, almost made things pop up to the top of my consciousness and be like, oh yeah, that also kind of changed. And also talking to my fellow thru-hikers was also really helpful. And also it's good to have them as a support also after the trail, because everyone kind of goes through similar things, so it was nice to get some moral support from them and feel like I'm not the only one who's thinking about these things or feeling a certain way, and it's more like a universal experience. So after coming home, I tried to stay active and give my body exercise, but also not too much, so that I could also get some rest. And I was trying to take it easy on myself and give myself time and just to be gentle with myself while I tried to transition back into the normal life and the expectations of society. And I feel like I managed to do that pretty well. I think that's pretty much all I have for now. And as always, if you have more questions about any of the things that I mentioned, please you can ask in the comments. And if there's a lot of things, maybe I'll make a separate video of that or of them. And like I mentioned, I have ideas for videos that I want to make about the hike. But if you have something that you would like me to mention or especially make a video about, then also please let me know in the comments, and I would be happy to hear what you would like to see and hear me talk about. But yeah, thank you for watching the video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye now.